We don't need all these products and all this stuff and all this. See? So the corporate media and the people who design the schools and the government and all these people, they don't want you to know about this. That's why there's a gap in our understanding. That's why there's no definition of consciousness that's a standard scientific definition that's repeatable and that's useful and practical. You see? That's why these things are missing from our culture. Because the people who designed our culture don't want you to know it. They don't want you to know what you are. They don't want you to know how to be happy just by sitting and doing nothing. Oh, that would be horrible. Nobody would want to work. Just imagine. How horrible. But actually, people would work better. People would work much better because then they would, if they knew that, they would know so many other things. Like, oh, I don't have to work for anybody else. Oh, I can just work for myself. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I can sit down under a tree and contemplate my consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi. Om Haribol. See? Then when you chant from that platform, oh, so wonderful.
I think you had posted on the forum once, about 7-8 months ago, a post called How to Meditate, and you spoke about you sit down and you watch your thoughts. If some sound comes in, you watch the sound coming into your mind and let it go out. And that's how you observe your consciousness, and then chant your japa. Mm-hmm. That was very good.
The microphone. You have to point your microphone.
Oh.
That's a very directional mic.
Should I say it again?
Yes, please.
About 7 months ago or so, you had posted on the forum a post called How to Meditate on the Kurukshetra forum. And you talked about you sit down in a comfortable, quiet room, and you just close your eyes, maybe watch your breath for a few seconds, and then watch your thoughts. If a thought comes in, just watch it there and let it go out. If there's some disturbance, if a car honks, just watch the sound come into your mind and let it go out. And this way, slowly you become aware of your own consciousness.
Who is watching? Who is hearing? Who is thinking?
So then we become aware that all our thoughts, intelligence, mind is something that we are watching, and so we become aware of ourselves as consciousness. Mm-hmm. And then we start to chant our japa.
Yeah, you chant from that platform. That's very nice, very powerful. So maybe that's what's missing. Maybe that process of letting go of identification is not sufficiently defined in our culture. And then the temptation is to substitute something else for it. See, because everybody knows how to go into denial. We're expert at that. Pretending not to be this or that or the other thing that we actually have quite a bit invested in. That's a significant feature of Western culture, this denial. So, no, we're not talking about denial, because you have to become fully conscious of something in order to manipulate it, in order to have control over it, in order to change your thinking about something. You have to own it. And if you own it, that means you take responsibility for it and the effects that it causes in your life and others. And that's a big deal. Just owning your anger, for example, or owning your upsetness, or owning, any number of bad qualities. These are big pieces of work that people have to do on themselves to get sufficiently conscious of those areas of themselves so that they can own them and take responsibility for them.
What does that mean, to own and take responsibility?
To admit that I get angry. I get frustrated, I get mean. Sometimes I'll speak harshly to people. All kinds of stuff like that. And I do that. And that's me, I do that. That's mine, and then I have to take responsibility for that. See? I caused so-and-so to feel upset. I did this and that, and this other person didn't understand that where I was coming from, and then they saw me as being a mundane personality because I got angry, or because I spoke harshly, or because I did this. And going back and seeing that, my anger at my godbrothers was immense. It took me a year and a half of intensive primal therapy to get over that, to where I could finally let that go and say, okay, I'm not angry at them anymore. Because first I had to get over the fact that I had suppressed that anger, and it was eating me up inside, and that's why I had heart problems. So first it had to come out, and I had to own it fully, and then I had to express it, and then only I could work towards letting it go. This is psychology. This is like mental hygiene or emotional hygiene. This is preliminary to even Brahman realization. What to speak of pure devotional service? Pure devotional service is so high, try to understand. You have to be so clean, so clear, so self-realized to attain pure devotional service. It's a huge piece of work. It takes years, especially from the platform of ordinary human consciousness, which is so aberrated and so neurotic and so mixed up. So try to understand. These are all preliminary things, and if you don't handle them, you're going to have to go back and handle them later, because you will find your progress blocked. Does anyone online have a question or comment about this?
Yes.
What do we got?
Okay. David Logan said, I'm applying what you said about Paramatma realization to focusing my chanting on the sound of the holy name. I was always told to do this, and now I have a clear example of how it is applied and what it can lead to. Mother Swati said, I get it that I am not my body and I am the soul. I feel happiness in my heart when I focus on Krishna. I'm also not able to focus on my consciousness and feel the bliss. And then Mother Swati said, if a person is happy with himself most of the time, even doing nothing, is he watching his consciousness?
Well, how else could you be happy with yourself? You know, I wrote about this a long time ago, or did a podcast on it, Your Perfect Body, about living in the country. There's been several times in my life where I lived way, way, way out in the country, you know, like half an hour or more from the nearest town. Just in a little cabin or something like this. Spent lots and lots of time alone. Until now, being alone is actually my preferred state. If I could live just way out in the country in a little cabin and all by myself, I'd be so happy, you know. To have to deal with other people and all the dynamics of personal interactions and everything is really, it's difficult. I could just be all by myself and chanting all day and just be fine. You know, so try to understand what I'm doing now is like an austerity. You know, I can't imagine how Prabhupada could leave Vrindavan and go to the West and be around all of these like degraded hippies and preaching and all this, you know. Must have been so much trouble for him. It was such a great sacrifice, such a huge austerity for him to do that. But he did it to satisfy his spiritual master. And just like I'm doing this to satisfy Śrīla Prabhupāda, his order to me. So, you know, being alone is really wonderful. What's that? I rode through the desert on a horse with no name. Right? In the desert, you don't feel no pain because there ain't no one to give you something. Anyway, the fact that you are alone means actually that you are with Krishna. You are with the super soul. The soul and the super soul. The Atma and the Paramatma. You see? That's our real situation anyway. Our real situation is that what we're seeing when we see other people are just sense impressions. And remember how we talked last night about